from KUDZUKIAN Studios in Memphis, Tennessee.
It's Best in Blue.
And we're back, folks, with Best in Blue right here on the KUDZUKIAN Network. I am your host, DC. You know, folks, Best in Blue is a platform that Director Rollins assisted in creating that allows the citizens of Memphis to connect with their Memphis Police Department. You know what? Gives you a bird's eye view of what your officers are doing on a day-to-day basis and the work that they're doing in our community to make us safe. And on today's show, guess what? We have some of the finest in Best in Blue. We've got the major multi-agency gang unit, and we have we got the leader right here, Major Darren Goods. How are you, sir?
Good morning. I'm doing fine, and thanks for having us.
Man, great to have you on here, and also along with call you director, man. I already promoted you.
That's fine.
I'm not going to tell the director that.
Just make sure the mayor knows.
Make sure the mayor knows. Major Goods. Along with Major Goods, we've got Detective Willis as well as Detective Arocho. I want to make everybody director. Yeah. Detective Arocho. We want to talk a little bit about the influence, and I guess let's talk a little bit about the multi-agency gang unit and its formation. First of all, let's talk about that.
Basically, prior to 2011, there was no gang unit per se.
Okay.
Back in, I believe, and Rocho can correct me on this, Byron, 2006 was the last time we had a metro gang unit, and that was comprised of just basically officers from MPD and detectives from the Shelby County Sheriff's Department. That kind of went away, and from about 2006, 2007 to 2011-ish, 2010, 2011-ish, there was no formal gang unit. So the powers to be, we had the Director of Police Service at the time was Tony Armstrong, the Sheriff Bill Oldham, who's the current sheriff, the Shelby County District Attorney General Amy Wyrick, and at the time, the U.S. Attorney was Mr. Ed Stanton.
Yeah.
And then there was the FBI Special Agent in charge, the ATF Special Agent in charge, and they all collaborated and say, look, if we know that we have a gang issue, gang problems in Shelby County, and we need to develop this gang unit and make it a multi-agency gang unit where no one agency has more power than the other. Everybody has an equal stake. Everybody has
it's a shared
responsibility, right? So that became the impetus of the multi-agency gang unit. It was officially formed in 2011. Day to day is comprised of Memphis police officers and Shelby County Sheriff's deputies, and the ATF is the quote unquote sponsoring agency.
Okay.
However, District Attorney General Wyrick serves as the kind of chairman of the board, so to speak. And we are governed by a board of directors, which include those top 6 department heads: the sheriff, the director, the DA, the U.S. Attorney, the FBI Special Agent in charge, and the ATF Special Agent in charge. So we actually play with everybody in the alphabet soup, as we like to say. And so that became the multi-agency gang unit.
And so across this whole continuum, there is conversations or talk. So one person should know, one agency should know if we've got an issue in Cordova versus downtown Memphis.
Absolutely. We share information with just about anybody. I mean, any law enforcement agency we work with. We work with Bartlett. Matter of fact, we used to have a Bartlett officer assigned to the multi-agency gang unit up until about maybe 3 or 4 months ago. We work with Germantown. We work with every suburban agency or law enforcement agency in this community, including just this past Saturday, I got a call from the chief of police in Somerville. They were looking for a fugitive that was here in Memphis, and probably within about 45 minutes, he was in custody and he was being transported back to Somerville.
Wow. Kudos.
I mean, the gang unit here in Memphis, we get calls from all over. For help. Like California, Memphis is a place you can learn a lot, and you can find out different things doing this job. But here we get calls from all over asking gang questions, how to determine what a gang looks like, who's in a gang,
Let's talk about that, Detective Willis. In Memphis, and we're talking about Memphis right now, Memphis and Shelby County, because it's multi-agency.
Yeah.
We want to talk about the whole scope of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
The number of gangs we have, and you can give me a bright number or whatever you got on how many members we're talking about, the influence in terms of, are we talking about all of the suburban areas? Are we talking about the entire county? Mm-hmm. Just a tidbit that you can.
Contrary to popular belief, gangs are everywhere. Memphis, the suburbs, the suburbs, everywhere. What we have documented in a system called TAG that we use, called Tracking Active Gangs, we have probably about 14,000 documented gang members in the TAG system.
14,000.
Yes. Now that's just the ones that are documented. Okay.
Wow.
That's just what is documented. Every day, we're probably documenting one or maybe two people that's part of a gang. Now, when you talk about gangs, you talk about sets, cliques, whatever.
Affiliates and all of that stuff.
Exactly right. Security group threat. They don't meet the criteria, the 28 CFR, but they are associated with gang members, or they hang out, or
28 CFR. What is that?
That's a federal program that gives us 28 points to say this guy is a gang member.
So I'm walking down the street with my pants down, I got a white shirt on and a red bandana, does not make me a gang member, so to speak, even though there's some of us out there that believe that.
It's a criteria. Even though you may not get 28 points, doesn't mean we don't document you. You can get 5 points, you can get 10 points, and that be, and you're on the radar, so to speak. Exactly right. And we keep you in the system for 5 years.
Wow.
And if you don't have any contact with the with law enforcement in that 5 years, you're purged out of the system.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Detective Arocha, I want to bring you in on this piece. There's a lot of talk coming out of Washington, especially with the U.S. Attorney, the Attorney General, who is the chief law enforcement officer for the country, and also the president, about MS-13. Do we have a sect or a set in the Memphis and Shelby County community?
Well, I have personally encountered, in the 6 years that I've been on the gang unit, I've encountered 2 MS-13 members here in Memphis. Wow. Now, a lot of people get MS-13 confused with Sureño 13. They're 2 different entities, they're 2 different organizations. MS stands for Mara Salvatrucha. La Mara is a street in El Salvador, and Salvatrucha was the name they gave the guerrillas who fought in the Salvadoran Civil War. So MS-13 actually was created in Los Angeles, predominantly of Salvadoran immigrants. Wow. And they are the #1 gang as far as Homeland Security and the government is concerned as far as gang violence. Fortunately, we don't have that influence here in Memphis. We have Sureño 13, which is a totally different organization.
It's a totally different one. Now, is it? Are they as deadly? Are they as violent as what you would say MS-13 would be?
Well, absolutely. Sureño 13s can be violent. Yeah. And there's so many of them. They remind me of the Crips because there's so many different sets. MS-13 is basically MS-13. They have no sets, but Sureños, quite often, even their own sets don't get along. And so that they kind of remind me of the Crips. Same basic formula.
Major Goods?
I guess I got a question for Rocho. Kind of explain a little bit between the relationship between the Sureños and MS-13.
Well, MS-13 and Sureños 13 are mortal enemies. Yes, they will shoot on sight. And in fact, the one MS-13 member that I encountered, we actually arrested for attempting to shoot a Sureño over there at Kingsbury High School. Wow. And that was the first MS-13 that I had encountered, but they're not as prevalent here. There may be 2 or 3, but it's just, this is Sureño 13 territory as far as Hispanic gangs is concerned. You have some Latin Kings, we've encountered them as well. Yeah. But the main group is the Sureños, which means Southerners, Southern California.
Southern California.
Right.
Wow. That's why, folks, right here on Best in Blue, right on the KUDZUKIAN Network, you're listening to us here.
Best in Blue for you, KUDZUKIAN. Art of it. Artivism.
Artivism features conversations with artists, creatives, and citizens working at the intersection of art and social activism. And I'm Linda Steele, your host. I'm a grant maker, change maker, social venture capitalist, and I invest in individuals and projects that use the arts as a vehicle for social change.
Artivism on the KUDZUKIAN Network. KUDZUKIAN!
Hey, this is your guy, DC. Funky Politics. We're back. A brand new season, brand new shows, brand new guests. We're going to do it just right. Right here on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
R&R on sports. Artivism. Best in Blue. Funky Politics. Blues in the Basement. Neighborhood Connect. Riffin' on Jazz. On the KUDZUKIAN Network.
And we're back, folks, with Best in Blue right here on the KUDZUKIAN Network. I am your host, DC. You know, the Best in Blue is a brainchild or platform that Director Rollins created to assist our communities in getting to know and understand the inner workings of the Memphis Police Department. And I believe he's done a great job of doing that. We oftentimes have the director come on, and sometimes we have a lot of the leadership team from the Memphis Police Department come on. And today we've got some fine leaders who are helping serve and protect in our communities. We've got Major Darren Goods, who happens to be the commanding officer of multi-agency gang unit. I want to make sure I got that right now. I don't want to give you more title than I normally give.
Yeah, these guys normally give me less title, so
they give you less
sometimes
title.
it's appreciated. But I will say this, though. We also have Captain Derek Mills with the Shelby County Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
He is the highest-ranking county deputy assigned to the unit. I'm the operations commander, and he pretty much handles the day-to-day kind of investigation, that sort of thing.
Okay,
so
great.
We don't look at it as I'm the operations commander and then everybody else fall under me. We are a team. We all work together. Every decision that's made in that office is a collective decision. This is not a one-man unit. This is a collection of some of the best investigative minds in the country right here in the city of Memphis.
That's saying something right there. Best investigative minds that's contributing to this team.
Absolutely.
We also got Sergeant Pavette, who's on assignment from the Sheriff's Department, Shelby County Sheriff's Department. Welcome to the show there.
Thank
Sergeant
you. Good
Pavette.
to be here. Thanks for having us.
Right. And also, we couldn't do this show, Director Goods, if we didn't have Detective Willis with us today. Can we do this show?
I love the way you say Director Goods. Director Rollins.
I keep calling you Director. Major Goods, man. I'm going to make you Director before it's over with, man. I tell you. We'll both be out of a job if we keep talking like that,
It was a joke, boss.
It was a joke. But Major Goods, we couldn't do this show without Detective Willis, and we appreciate you being here as well, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Jumping right into this thing, we want to talk a little bit about the influences of the multi-agency gang unit and its task to help keep us safe and help hopefully at some point redirect some of these youth and probably some of these older gentlemen who still find themselves wanting to be with sets or cliques or what have you. Talking a little bit about the gang influence in Memphis, there's an opportunity I think that it's afforded you all as a tool in your belt, and that is the gang injunctions. Tell me a little bit about the gang injunctions, and then Detective Willis, how do we get there? How do we get to actually saying we can serve this?
Well, gang injunctions are a lot of work.
Yeah.
Gang injunctions are pretty much the last resort when it comes to dealing with gangs and their activity. It takes a lot of work, a lot of man hours, but you have to be in an area where there's a high crime, gang crimes in your area. We focus on that. We get the calls in for service for police. We go in and we investigate who these calls are coming from and what kind of crimes that are happening or being committed in that area. We put all of that together. We investigate the individuals, each one of them. We look at them from top to bottom, and we present it to the judge, and the judge decides whether we can have that injunction. It's a civil injunction. It's suing the gang. It's
actually suing the gang.
Yes, it is.
It's a civil matter.
Yes,
not a criminal.
Yes. And once we get that injunction, we go out and enforce it. Before we do any of that, though, we also include the public.
Yeah.
We go out and we talk to them. It's kind of like community policing. Yeah. We have a great officer here, Officer Doty, that does that. We go out and we communicate and we document it. We see what the problems are. We want to make sure kids can go out and enjoy themselves and be kids in the playground or at the playground.
So this injunction, this is not a 2 or 3 day deal. I've observed some things in 2 or 3 days, maybe a couple of weeks, and I'm going to run to the DA and say, hey, look, we've got the facts here on our side. Let's go ahead and move. I'm assuming that there's a lot of deliberation.
It really is.
So imagine the average injunctive period, to get an injunction is going to take a lot of work.
It takes about a year. Yeah. It takes about a year of exhaustive investigation. Because like Byron just said, there are certain criteria that has to be met.
Right.
One of them, you have to determine that there's a gang. Okay, what is a gang?
Yeah.
Then you have to determine if this gang has structure and rules and all that stuff. You have to verify that. Then, are the members of this gang the primary cause of the crime in this particular area?
Yeah.
You have to determine that. Then after that, you have to take investigative steps that could potentially address the problems without going to the gang injunction. The gang injunction is kind of the final straw. And one of the things that we saw up in the Nutbush area, we looked at the Serrano 13s that was creating havoc in that neighborhood up there.
Wow.
And Detective Arocho put a team together, and we started an investigation called Southbound, to deal with some of the issues up there, because we were looking at doing an injunction. Over the course of about 18 months, I think they arrested between 50 and 55, 56 Hispanic gang members from different gangs that were wreaking havoc in the Nutbush area. And as a result, crime decreased. So the investigation that these guys undertook actually kind of addressed the problem that we were looking at. Now, let me say this. When I say crime decreased, crime didn't go away.
No.
It's just that the crime committed by these specific gang members was decreased to a level where we were no longer legally, we could no longer get a gang injunction.
Sergeant Pavette, I want to bring you in on this piece as well, because we talked about the Nutbush area, but being with the Sheriff's Department and the responsibility that the sheriff has, and I think typically because of maybe the agreements that the police department has with the Sheriff's Department, for years we've always thought as the Sheriff's Department just basically handling things outside of the city limits. You got places like Cordova, Bartlett, Lakeland, and all those that you have agreements with, well, except Cordova being a part of the county. What do you see out there? Have you seen an influx? Have you seen an increase in gang activity in our suburban areas?
Well, there's gang members everywhere. You're not going to get away from them.
Sure.
Is it as prevalent outside in the rural areas as it is inside the city? No. You can look at the crime stats from the county and the city and see, but you still have them. Cordova High School, you have them at Bolton High School, those areas out there in District 5, District 6, things like that. Yeah. Yes, we have gangs everywhere. You have a lot of gang members that live live outside the city, but they travel to the city to, do their dirt every day.
So the influence is and we often think that moving out to the suburbs, you're bringing your kids to a better school. I mean, that's what the prevalent thought is in a lot of our communities, that when you move out, you're doing better. But as you're telling me, there's still going to be, we still have gangs all over, not only just those couple of high schools, but we got them also inside the 240 loop as well. Without having to, bring in a bunch of other schools. We've got all of this happening right here in the city of Memphis as well as in Shelby County.
Yes, sir. Wow. It's all over the county.
All over the county.
Yes. I mean, you have gang members everywhere. You're not going to get away from it. That live in these suburbs. I mean, like you say, you think you're living in, but we still have our vehicle thefts, our motor thefts, your burglaries, things like that, and it's like the Walgreens stuff that was going on all over the city, but it's also going all over the county. Your Family Dollar, your Dollar Generals. Yeah. These are gang members breaking into these places.
Well, and that's what I want to. Let me just. I know we're almost out of time on this piece here, but let me ask you all this question in a round robin. So a lot of this this crime that we see, the auto thefts, the like you said, the burglaries, home burglaries, and also with these Walgreens breaking in, I guess I'm assuming they're trying to get opiates or narcotics. Are you all seeing that as a tie with the gang culture in Memphis?
Some of it is. I don't think that we can attribute all of that to gang violence or gang initiation or gang crimes, but certainly, some of it is because we. Some of the names we're aware of, some of the investigations we've assisted with. So we do know that there is a connection, but I don't think that we can simply just say all of these burglaries, all of these crimes that are occurring are gang related. Some of it is, some of it's not. Some of it, like the car break-ins and the burglaries, are just opportunists. For some reason, a lot of people in the suburb don't feel that they have to lock their doors. They don't feel that they have to lock their cars, and they leave these valuables in cars, guns and laptops and phones and that sort of thing. And you're just inviting the criminals in. I know Colonel Sheffield is probably going to speak on some of the problems that he's having out there in his area. A lot of it is car break-ins. Some of it does involve gang members, but a lot of it is just opportunities.
You are listening to The Best in Blue right here on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
We gotta fight the powers that be. Got so many voices.
Artivism, funky politics, R&R on sports, neighborhood connect, blues in the basement, riffin' on jazz. Your three black chicks, Best in Blue, KUDZUKIAN, KUDZUKIAN.
KUDZUKIAN. Riffin' on jazz.
This next gentleman we're talking about has an unforgettable voice.
My sugar is so refined.
Jazz was the happiest.
Al
Calloway went to my school.
Oh, really?
Yes, he's not an alum because he didn't graduate. He has some gigs to do.
Riffin' on jazz on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Hello there. I'm Don Crow, Deputy Chief with the Memphis Police Department, and you're listening to Best in Blue on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Hey, this is DC, and you're listening to Best in Blue right here on the KUDZUKIAN Network. Best in Blue is a platform that Director Rollins has helped create to give our citizens an opportunity to take a look at the inner workings of the Memphis Police Department, and also to give the Memphis Police Department a platform in which to talk to the citizens of the city of Memphis and explain to them some of the here tos and what tos and how you do this and why you do this and all of those things right there. Memphis is a large city, and we all have a lot of different types of attitudes toward things, but I think the director's onto something. How can we bring your police department right to you so you can hear exactly what we're doing from an operational standpoint? And our policemen, women and men who serve every day, they're just like us. They go home from work and they're tired and they want to go to bed. They want to get up and they want to come back to work and they do it all over again, okay? And they want to do it in a safe manner, and that's what we want. We want our policemen to be safe, and we want our community safe as well. So from that standpoint, we brought in some wonderful people from the multi-agency gang unit, and we've got Major Darren Goods. I got to say that twice to make sure I get it out there, right? Major, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. Good morning. How are you doing, sir?
And I'm hanging in there. I'm on coffee, so I'm really speeding right now.
I understand.
We also got Detective Willis with us on today, sir. How are you?
What's going on? How you doing, Fi? You all right? I got to say something to you.
I knew that was coming.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah,
Hey, Nuke's in the house. We just can't say it. We just can't go here the whole day.
Can we get on with the program?
Yes, okay.
Haters will be congratulators one day.
Yes, sir. There you go.
And we also got Detective Doty and sitting in with us as well. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thanks, sir. Glad to be here.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the outreach efforts of the police department and your unit in terms of you're not only there to protect and serve, but I would think that you're there also at some point to help redirect.
Yeah.
If you can redirect a young man or a young woman or an older person to go a different way, I mean, is that not a part of what we should be doing as a department as well?
Absolutely. Let me say, in the multi-agency gang unit, we have a 3-pronged strategy that we use. We identify a problem. We go into a specific area and identify a problem. We come up with plans in order to combat that issue. And then the second phase of it is the enforcement part, We go in and we enforce. We clean it up. We get to the root of the problem, and we combat crime. The third and the most important phase of this is the education phase. We come back into that area and we give them the education piece. That means we go to the schools, we go to the churches, we do all types of programs to try to build the relationship between the law enforcement and the community.
And that's what I'm talking about. Now, when people know, not only are you there to protect and serve, but also you're there to educate as well. And I think sometimes that falls on deaf ears.
Absolutely.
Major, I mean, I think it falls on deaf ears because I don't know. I think you guys are doing it, and sometimes we're not listening because we only see one part of it.
Absolutely.
But that's not the final piece of that education piece is, hey, look, if we can redirect you and get you to think in a different way, man, we ain't got to come back out here again, right?
We probably do just as much, if not more, on the education piece and the intervention piece than we do on the enforcement piece. Like Detective Doty says, it's a three-pronged approach, and we take each one very seriously. And the one thing I like about this unit is we have officers, detectives, Shelby County, Memphis guys and girls. They're all good at a lot. But by that same token, we got some that are really good at certain things. And it's like building a team. Coach Belichick would not win 5, 6 Super Bowls if not for Tom Brady, if not for all the different pieces that organization is able to bring in.
Sure.
That's how they are successful. Yeah. They bring in people that are good, very good in certain areas, and collectively that makes it a successful team.
Now, let me stop you right there. I think if you would use the Steelers, we'd probably be on the same page.
No,
right?
Actually, I would have used the Cowboys.
Yes. Oh,
but
okay.
I am
over.
a realist.
Show's over.
I'm a realist.
Show's over.
We haven't had that much success in the last several years.
What, you mean the Cowboys?
Yes, I will be honest.
I just want you to state that on here. Okay.
Yeah,
but seriously, I believe you're absolutely right. Pulling an entire team together like this, and I think we are making some strides, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. Would you say we're making strides there, Detective Willis?
We are. We are because I remember when I was a kid, my mom used to tell me, stop being bad, or that police is going to get you. Our objective is to change that.
Absolutely.
We do not want people to see us like that. And what our unit does, we make an effort to kill that myth. Because we need each other. We can't do this by ourselves, and we can't arrest our way out of this problem. We need the community. And we always tell people wherever we go, the parent is the first police officer. Not the us in the uniform. So yes, we make a difference. We really do.
Doty, let me ask you this. In terms of relationships, and we've talked about all the different relationships that the police department has with the sheriff's department, ATF, FBI, the DA's office, the Shelby County school system, because of the mere fact that that's where all the students, at least the school children are, okay? And I'm assuming that when we talk about gangs, a lot of us are talking about youthful offenders. The relationship with the school system, I'm assuming, is bar none. It's on a great level, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Let me tell you what we did. Normally when we have programs and we invite people out and to bring their children to these programs, we have low turnouts. We have real low turnouts. So what we did was we thought outside the box. If you don't want to come to us, we'll come to you.
Wow.
And where do we come to our students at? In the schools. Just a couple of weeks ago, we went to Whitehaven High School and we had a symposium. We put all the young ladies on the top floor and all the guys on the bottom floor, and we taught them everything from gang violence, sex crimes, social media, things of that nature. And they were real receptive to what we had to say. And then we was invited back a couple of weeks prior to that to deal with the 12th graders as well. So we did the 11th and 12th graders, and we had a real great turnout.
And that's one of the things, Major Goods, that I think that we need to focus on also. And you mentioned the social media piece.
Oh yeah.
Everybody wants to be a movie star. Everybody wants to be either on TV, radio, but now everything is not worth putting on social media. But that's what we find a lot of our issues with, and we don't even have to rehash some of the things that we've had happen over the last few months right here in the city of Memphis, because it's happening all over the country.
Absolutely.
We're just not having this stuff happening in Memphis. It's happening all over the dadgum country.
That's right.
I mean, is there something that we need to tell a parent, look, check your kid's social media. Everything is not worth putting on air.
I think Byron said it best. Parents have to be the first police.
Sure.
When I was growing up, there's a picture that's been floating around social media, especially Facebook. That's probably got 7 or 8 little old church ladies standing on the porch, and they all got their hats on, they're all carrying purses, and it says, "My first police." The only police that I've ever been afraid of was that group. That was me growing up.
Yeah.
Where we had little old ladies that took care of the neighborhood. People had pride in their neighborhood. And mamas didn't get upset when people like Julia Rogers spanked me.
Yeah.
My mama thanked Julia Rogers for spanking me. We need to kind of get back to that. Maybe not at that level, but what I'm saying is get back to taking pride in your neighborhood. Get back to not defending your kids' bad actions.
Oh, God.
You know,
doesn't that kill you?
Absolutely,
doesn't that just kill you?
Absolutely. And as far as all this social media, you need to know what your kids are posting on social media.
Yeah.
I started on Facebook to track my son and my nephew, and because it was, I think back in the day it was what is it? What's the name of the place? It was MySpace.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then it went to Facebook. And I know teenage boys kind of do things. So that's how I got it. That's how I started tracking Facebook. I tracked them kids. But when you go back to the intervention part, I want to touch on this real quick. I know we have a lot of time. We're talking about the school system. The Shelby County school system has a program called GRASSY. And GRASSY is an in-school intervention with these young people before it even gets to us, before it explodes. And there's a young man that heads up that program named Anthony Hicks. When I tell you Mr. Hicks, he has a tremendous story. And it would be really good if you got him on one day and had him come in and tell his story. Ex-gang member, decided to change his life around, and now
I read about this kid.
He is saving lives in the schools every single day because the kids trust him. And that's one of the first things you got to build that trust with these young people. So they trust him. So they tell him things, and he's able to intervene before anything even gets out of hand. There's another gentleman over there who's a recently retired MPD officer, Lieutenant Anthony Carter, who happened to be the first MPD lieutenant with the multi-agency gang unit. And then I came in and replaced him in 2014, I believe. And so now he's retired, and now he's working in the school system. And that is a very good plus for us because he knows both sides. Yeah. He knows the MTU side of it, and now he's actively involved in the school side.
What this tells me is there's a lot of collaboration.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of collaboration and I think working closely with SCS. I mean, that's, to me, outside of the home, that's what it is. Yeah. They're there 8 hours a day with these teachers, and they know. I mean, you can't deputize every teacher, but my goodness, some intervention from, if you got the Hicks and you got the Carters out there, hopefully we can multiply those numbers with the officers that are in school and also with the educators. Yes, sir.
Once those students realize that you're genuine, they'll give you information. And I can tell you, by building a relationship with these kids, we've got numerous of calls and we've taken numerous of violent offenders off the street just by building that relationship with these children.
Wow.
Yeah.
And these guys put just as much effort into building those relationships as they do putting handcuffs on.
Yes. Wow. Because we have to have a conversation. We have to, it's different. Yeah. The times have changed since we were kids. We have to have a conversation with our children. And hopefully our unit will continue to grow and continue to teach.
Well, at some point I was speaking one day a couple of years ago, and the director, Gupton, director of Correction Center, was there, and I said, we hope to, these fraternities and sororities, we hope to put you out of business one day. We hope to, and I'm hoping that one day that you all can help put yourselves out of business.
Absolutely.
One day.
Absolutely.
One day we get to that point. I mean, everybody wants a career.
Yes.
But I mean, you could probably sell flowers, major goods. That look like you'd be a good florist. I'm not sure, but I'm sure at one point you want to get out of, out of the business. Wouldn't that be a great thing if we could get out of business?
Exactly.
But you know what? That's my idealism. Give me a number or a website that we can get in touch with you all if we got somebody who needs to talk to someone in the multi-agency gang unit.
Our phone number is 222-4264 or 222-GANG. Wow. 222-4264 or 222-GANG.
Hey, look, we've had a great time with you all today. I appreciate you hanging there. Best in Blue right here on the KUDZUKIAN Network.
Best in Blue, recorded live at KUDZUKIAN Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. Executive producer Larry Robinson. Best in Blue, part of the KUDZUKIAN Network.